Welcome back to Wrestling with Horror. My name is Andrew Dreamer. Today, we're going to be looking at my top 10 favorite horror movies from 2022. Let's get going. So, this list is probably going to be different than a lot of people's list. Um, I didn't get a chance to see every horror movie that I wanted to this year. There are some that just I just haven't had the chance to see. So I'm just going to jump right into this list. First off, we're going to be starting with X. This film, directed by Ty West, was a a welcome addition to horror in 2022. It was very, very gory. It was very different than anything we've ever seen. This film follows a group of people going to a remote Texas farm to film a movie. And once they get there, they find out that the old couple that they are renting this farm from is they're not what they seem. They're dark and twisted and demented. And this couple begins, well, not even really the couple, it's mostly the old woman. She begins killing all these people. Now, this film is very gritty. It feels a lot like it feels like something that was actually made in the 70s when it was set. Now, there's a lot of inspiration taken from movies like Texas Chainsaw Massacre for this film, and it works fabulously. So that is going to lead me right into the next film on this list, Pearl. Pearl is the prequel to X. It was filmed back to back. We didn't even know about it. Most people probably didn't even see the little trailer for it at the end of X. I didn't at first. But when this film got announced and it was stated that Mia Goth was going to once again be playing Pearl, who was the old woman in X. Now, Mia Goth in X actually played two different characters. She played Maxine and she played Pearl. In this movie, she's only Pearl. Now, this movie is obviously set when Pearl is a young woman. Now, I will say I don't like this movie quite as much as X. It's a very different feeling movie. It's still very good, and when it gets to the gory parts towards the end of the movie, it is again, it's amazing. The gore and the effects that they used in this are actually very good. And we're going to be getting a third part in this trilogy called Maxine next year. I'm really excited to see what happens with that one. Next up is going to be Smile. Now, I saw the trailer for this film. The trailer, I don't think, really gave a whole lot away. It showed us that when you see somebody smile, this thing comes after you, but we didn't exactly know what that was going to be. Now, when I watched this movie, I really didn't have any expectations for it. I had heard that a lot of people liked it, which always bodes well. But I was actually very surprised with the amount of development and character arc that they had in this film. The main character, she goes on a heck of a journey throughout this entire film. She is basically called crazy by everybody. Nobody believes her when she says that this thing is after her. And honestly, at one point, you even start to question whether or not she is crazy because you learn that she has like these things in her past that are linked to her mental health, like her mother committing suicide a long time ago or dying. And these things, they at one point they make you question whether or not she actually is seeing these things or if they're fake. Obviously, they end up being real, and the movie actually does not have a happy ending, which I can appreciate when a movie has the guts to do that. We're moving right on to Barbarian. Now, Barbarian, I was extremely excited for. The trailer got me really hyped for it. And again, the trailer didn't really give away what the movie was about, which in the year 2022, it seems like a lot of horror movies in the past couple years have had all of their important moments and kills and things like that spoiled in the trailer. I'm looking at you, Halloween Kills. But this movie did not give hardly anything away. You didn't even see some of the most important characters in the trailer. Now, this film follows a girl going to stay at a bed and breakfast, where, or not a bed and breakfast, but an Airbnb, I'm sorry. And basically finds out that there's another person staying there. And during this time, these things happen during that first night. And then she gets back and she goes into the basement, finds this bed and this bucket, and there's this hidden room. So she gets freaked out, and then you get to the second half of the movie, which follows Justin Long's character. Now, Justin Long's character he's not a good person. There are moments in the movie where he's making jokes and you're laughing, but I had a hard time rooting for this guy because he is just kind of a despicable human being. But his character being inserted here, it's almost like a film of two halves. When you get that second half, it really picks up and things start happening. And it was a very, very, very well made movie. The writing was really good. The characters are acted very well. Everybody did a fantastic job, and it's a hard movie to watch at some points, and it's very unnerving, and it's very scary. Next is Scream. Now, I was looking forward to this movie from the moment it got announced. We weren't sure if we were ever going to get another Scream movie following the passing of Wes Craven. I'm glad we did. I think that Wes would have been proud of what these filmmakers accomplished. And when you get that just gut punch of Dewey dying, that hit everybody so hard. There was a lot of emotion involved in that one moment. Now you've got all the characters together again. You have these new characters. They're injecting new life into this series, and it is just as meta as ever. And it all just worked really well. I like the new characters they brought in. Jenna Ortega does a fantastic job. She's had a heck of a year too. She was also in X as well, and she's just recently been in Wednesday on Netflix, which has surpassed Stranger Things in views, which is insane to think about. But she's had a heck of a year, and this movie was the one that started her year off with a bang. Next up is Halloween Ends. I've talked about Halloween Ends so much on this channel already. October was basically dedicated to Halloween, which, yeah, as it should be. But regardless, I'm going to mention it again. I won't go into a whole lot of detail with it, but I love Halloween Ends. I liked the big swing that they took. They took a huge chance in the way that they decided to go, the direction they decided to take with this movie. And for me, it works. I know it doesn't work for everybody. It's basically split down the middle. You either love it or you hate it. I'm in the camp that loves this movie. I don't think it's the best Halloween sequel that we've ever gotten. And I don't think it's the best Halloween movie that we've had out of this trilogy. But I think it was a solid concluding chapter. There was a few things I wish they would have done differently, but it's still good enough to make this list for me. Next is going to be Hellraiser. Hellraiser is a very interesting franchise. The first two movies in this franchise are good. The first one is really good. The second one is a serviceable sequel. After that, they just become nonsensical and ridiculous. But this Hellraiser film was a return to what Clive Barker intended this story to be. It is a completely different story than the original, but you still get the Cenobites, and this is one of the only movies in the franchise where it actually feels like the Cenobites are front and center, and we get to see a lot of them, and that's exactly what I think everybody wanted out of a Hellraiser movie. So that is why that movie is here on my list. Next is going to be Orphan First Kill. Now, this movie does make my favorite list of 2022. However, I have to say that I don't really see a reason for this movie existing. It does answer a lot of questions that we weren't really asking. In the original, we got basically all the information that we needed about Esther, but nonetheless, we get this prequel. I think they did a fantastic job making the actress look like she was the same age as Esther in the original. I know she's grown a lot. She's in her 20s now. She's not a little girl anymore. But I think they did a good job making her look younger. The effects that they used in this movie, the movie magic that they used, it all worked for me. The story was good. There were a few things that I was kind of iffy on, but I actually thoroughly enjoyed this movie, and I'm definitely going to watch it again. All right, the penultimate film on this list is going to be The Black Phone. Ethan Hawke is somebody that I've always been a big fan of. I pretty much like anything that he's in. I thought he did good in the first Purge movie. He's been in a lot of other things as well. But this movie was his it was a different type of film for him. He's playing this killer, this person who kidnaps these kids and keeps them locked up. And he just the reason this movie is on this list is honestly just because of him for me. And I think that he just does such a good job with being terrifying as this character. And honestly, I hope that we get to see more. If we don't, I understand, and honestly, it probably works better as a standalone film. However, I would like to see Ethan Hawke return as this character and continue to develop his story more. All right, the last film on this list is going to be Prey, the entry into the Predator franchise that we got this year. Now, the Predator franchise has kind of been stuttering and stalling the past few years. I actually am one of the few people who enjoyed the last film that we got, The Predator. But I see the issues with that. I see why people don't like it. Now, this one, it obviously takes place a long time ago, before even the original movie. It's a prequel. And it takes place around this Native American tribe. And we get to see honestly, kind of a more barbaric take on the Predator. It, the best way I can describe it is barbaric. I think it works really well. I think it is the closest thing to the original that we've gotten. And I like how much that they showed the Predator in this movie. I like the look of the Predator. Everybody in the film did a fantastic job. It was written very well, and it was shot beautifully. And again, all the gory parts were really good. I like the effects that they use. That is a huge thing for me. I've said it before, and I'll say it again in the future. But anytime I get good special effects and gore, I'm going to be happy. So, those are my top 10 horror movies of 2022. Let me know down in the comments if you think I'm an idiot. What are your thoughts on these 10 films? I know I left some off. I hadn't had a chance to see Terrifier 2. I wish I had. I just didn't have the time. And there's also a couple more coming out this year. I'm going to see The Mean One in a couple days as I'm filming this. So there's going to be a review of that coming, and maybe that movie would have been on this list, but I don't know. So nonetheless, that is my list. Again, let me know in the comments what you think. What's your top 10 horror movies of 2022? I'm very curious to hear what you have to say. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. The goal is 160 subscribers. It is very attainable. I need all the help I can get. I appreciate everybody who watches my videos every day. It means the world to me. It really does. When I started this channel, I never expected to do as well as I've done so far, and it might not seem like I'm doing that well, but to me, it really does mean a lot. And if you haven't already, go check out my t-shirt store at prowrestlingtees.com/AndrewDreamer, and you can get your own t-shirt with the Wrestling with Horror logo on it. But until next time, my name is Andrew Dreamer, and this is Wrestling with Horror.